The rain had been falling since dawn, turning the training grounds into thick, stubborn mud. Boots sank with every step. Rifles were damp. Tempers were already short. This was not a battlefield. There were no live rounds, no explosions, no enemies hiding beyond the tree line. And yet, for everyone standing there that morning, pride was very much on the line. On one side stood members of South Korea's elite 707th Special Mission Battalion, globally respected, highly trained, disciplined to the bone. Their reputation preceded them: urban counter-terror, hostage rescue, lightning-fast operations. They had trained with some of the best units in the world, and they knew it. On the other side were Filipino Commandos, quiet, composed, and almost invisible in the way they carried themselves. Many of them came from units forged not in simulations, but in jungles, mountains, and coastal villages, where mistakes meant bodies coming home in flag-draped coffins. This story is not about hate. It is not about humiliation. It is about a lesson learned the hard way, and it begins with laughter. When the joint training exercise was announced, it was framed as friendly competition, exchange of tactics, cultural respect, mutual growth. But beneath the formal smiles and salutes, something else simmered. Some of the Korean operators joked among themselves. "Filipinos?" one whispered. "Jungle fighters," another said, smirking. But this isn't the jungle. They watched the Filipinos prepare. No loud chatter, no exaggerated movements, just quiet checks, small nods, eyes scanning everything. To the 707th, it looked unimpressive. To the Filipinos, it was normal. The challenge was simple on paper: a series of 6 tactical scenarios: close quarters movement, objective capture, defensive hold, timed execution. No live fire, but every mistake counted. Every hesitation was logged. First scenario. The Koreans moved fast. Aggressive. Clean lines. Textbook precision. They were confident. Almost too confident. As they advanced, they failed to notice what the Filipinos noticed immediately: patterns. Where footsteps landed, where breathing changed, where overconfidence left gaps, the scenario ended. Score 1-0 in favor of the Filipinos. The Koreans laughed it off. "Beginner's luck," someone said. Second scenario. This time, terrain mattered. Mud, low visibility, uneven ground. The Koreans pushed harder, trying to dominate early. But the Filipinos adapted without words. They slowed down, used silence as a weapon, blended into the environment. One Korean operator later admitted, "It felt like chasing ghosts." Score 2-0. The laughter stopped. By the third scenario, frustration crept in. Commands grew sharper. Movements grew rushed. Pride had been poked, and pride hates being questioned. What the Koreans didn't know, what they couldn't see, was the kind of experience the Filipinos carried. These men were used to fighting where maps lied, where radios failed, where support was hours away, where civilians were everywhere and enemies looked the same. They weren't trained to look impressive. They were trained to survive and win. Third scenario ended quickly. Score 3-0. A heavy silence settled over the field. During the short break, the Filipinos drank water quietly. No smiles, no celebration. One of them looked at the Koreans and said calmly, "Let's continue." Fourth scenario. This was supposed to be the Koreans' strength: structured assault, synchronized movement, rapid execution. And for a moment, it looked like they had it. Then the unexpected happened. A feint, A pause, a redirection. The Filipinos didn't overpower them. They outthought them. By the time the whistle blew, the realization had already sunk in. Score: 4-0. One Korean operator slammed his helmet onto the ground. Another stared at the mud, jaw clenched, eyes burning, not with anger, but with disbelief. "How?" someone muttered. No one answered. Fifth scenario. Fatigue showed now. Muscles ached. Focus slipped. This is where true training reveals itself, not in strength, but in composure. The Filipinos remained steady. They had learned long ago that emotion wastes energy. That ego gets you killed. That calm is not weakness. It is control. The scenario ended. Score: 5-0. No laughter. No excuses. Just silence. By the final scenario, something had changed. The Koreans were no longer arrogant. They were respectful, alert, humbled. They studied the Filipinos closely now, watched how they moved, how they communicated with just a glance, how they waited instead of rushing. The last scenario was the hardest, and the Filipinos still won. Score: 6-0. When it was over, no one spoke for a long moment. Then something unexpected happened. One of the Korean leaders stepped forward. He removed his helmet, bowed deeply, and said, "We were wrong." His voice cracked. "We underestimated you." Another Korean operator wiped his face. Not mud, not sweat. Tears, not from defeat, but from realization. They had come expecting to teach. They left having learned. Later that evening, away from the cameras and formal reports, the mood shifted. Food was shared. Stories exchanged. Laughter returned, but different now. Softer, honest. A Korean operator admitted, "We thought confidence was strength." A Filipino replied quietly, "Confidence is knowing you don't need to prove anything." This documentary is not about who is better. It is about why humility matters. The Filipino Commandos did not win because they were louder. They won because they listened to the terrain, to each other, to experience earned the hard way. And the Korean 707th did not lose honor. They gained something more valuable: respect. Because in the end, the strongest warriors are not the ones who laugh first. They are the ones who stay silent, observe, adapt, and let their actions speak. That day ended with a score of 0-6. But what truly changed could not be measured. Pride was replaced with understanding. And both sides walked away better soldiers than when they arrived.